Namaste, Dr. Wangchuk. It's so wonderful to be in this land of sacred monasteries and total positivity everywhere. You can actually feel the peace and the harmony. And in spite of people from different cultures, different religions, all residing in this land, there is hardly any friction that I have heard about. Could you tell me something more about this Gompa that we are in right now?
Yes, this is one of the monasteries that is the closest to the lay market, and this is Samkar Monastery or Samkar Gompa. So, His Eminence Bhakula Rinpoche is the head Lama, and this monastery belongs to Gelugpa sect of Tibetan traditions. And His Eminence Bhakula Rinpoche has 4 monasteries in Ladakh: Spituk, Samkar, Stok, and Sabu.
Okay.
So, this is Samkar Monastery where we are.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it is because of these presence of these monasteries that maintains, the peace and harmony out here. I see a lot of monks, walking around. What is the tradition, of when a family, initially we used to hear they used to give one child into the monastery. What is the tradition today? Is it really being followed at present?
Yes, it is said, since King Tashi Namgyal, there has been a tradition where all the Buddhist families, they had to give one child to the monastery to become monk. But now that system or the tradition is not there, because there is also a concern for all of us, because the number of monks are decreasing in the monasteries, because most of the Buddhist families now, they have only 2 children, and they don't want to give their 2 children to the monastery.
But Dr. Wangchuk, do the monks and the local people blend in together, or the monks try stay away from the local population? What is the culture out here?
The relationship between Gompa community or the monastic community and the lay community is a very important one, and especially the monks and the lay people, the relation is very close, and it's very important question, because how they blend each other, how they live together, because as a Buddhist, as a Buddhist society, we need monks right from birth to death. So when a child is born, the monks from the monastery come and do the cleansing ritual, and also, the child get name from the Rinpoche, the head Lama of the monastery, so like that, we need monks at every step, as a Buddhist devotees, for every ups and downs in our life, we need monks, and we consider monks as our guide, our guru, or our teacher, or our advisor. So for any problem, we go to the monastery, and we ask the monks to perform rituals. And earlier, even the monks, used to give medicines to the sick people, so monks are always needed. And the other side, the monks also need lay devotees, for their, for any kind of donation for the monastery, for the monks, for rituals, for repairing the monastery, for restoring the monastery, for to build a new construction, for everything, they need donation from the lay people, so they always, even to do all these monastic activities and rituals and all, they need their lay devotees to come to monastery and do all the services for the monastery.
Correct.
So they are always interconnected.
Yeah, so it's like a give and take relationship
exactly,
between the local people and the monasteries
and the
and the
monasteries,
monks.
yes. Yes.
Dr. Wangchuk, with the new generation coming up, with the exposure of the youth into social media, and they're going out of Leh to and Ladakh to study into modern cities, going into Delhi, Chandigarh for university. What do you think, in your opinion, would this new generation also continue with the old traditions? Right.
It will. The changes, we cannot, avoid or escape changes. Changes will be there. But this kind of faith, in monasteries, in Buddhist monks, and in our own religion and philosophy and all, I think it's remain the same.
Okay.
Because the child, child is when child is born, so the parents start teaching them about monks, monasteries, and rituals and Buddhist practices and meditation, and so all these are deeply rooted in the child.
Correct.
So even when they go out of Ladakh, to Chandigarh or Delhi or any European countries, when they come back to Ladakh, the faith and their devotion remain the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is really, really hopeful, and I'm sure this tradition is going to continue for generations to come. One thing also I feel, Dr. Wangchuk, is these monasteries are very, very fragile and sacred places, and it's good that we have a lot of tourism, a lot of faith also in a lot of people who come from different parts of the world, to come and pray out here and to meditate out here. But I feel, there are certain guidelines that are not passed down to these guests who come in. What is your advice, to the people who bring in these guests to these
Yes,
monasteries?
very good question. Especially like Ladakh is, it's a land of religious monuments, land of monasteries, land of stupas, and land of sacred landscapes. So when tourists come to Ladakh, they have to be very sensitive, they have to be very responsible, they have to be very respectful. And on the other hand, like all the local people who are involved in tourism, for example, the travel agency, the hotel owner, guest house owner, taxi driver, everyone has the responsibility to, like inform the tourists what to do and what not to do when they visit a monastery in Ladakh. Like the same thing is even when they go outside, like in the landscapes of Ladakh, like because here most of the lands we consider sacred.
Correct.
So that's why, it's the responsibility of all our local people and also the tourism department. They should have signages, they should have proper signages at like all these tourist places, like do's and don'ts. So likewise, travel agencies and hotel owners and taxi drivers all are responsible. Like they should like educate the tourists, what they can do and what they cannot do in Ladakh.
Correct.
So and also this year especially, like we have so many domestic tourists, and we have witnessed some, kind of like irresponsible behavior from some of the tourists. I'm not saying that all the domestic tourists are not good or irresponsible, but there are some tourists, like who come with, their luxurious, expensive cars, and like they drive to the lakes, they drive to the sand dunes, they drive to they do all the like off-road drivings and all. So because of that, our environments are disturbed, our like the fragile ecosystem is disturbed, and also it is not a respectful for our like culture, like such as Ladakh. Like here people are very peaceful, and like they love kindness, like so very kind-hearted people. And so in this kind of land, like tourists also needs to be more responsible, more respectful, and like I personally always welcome all the tourists, all the guests from anywhere from the world, like to our this sacred land,
Correct.
Ladakh. But at the same time, we request our guests to be more respectful, more like responsible, and yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just like when you welcome somebody to your house, to your home, and you expect a certain kind of a behavior, and we also give them the same respect. So I'm sure people who are listening to you, your advice, and there are a lot of other organizations which are creating awareness, and the youth today is also very aware and responsible. I'm sure it's going to be a positive relationship between tourism, the local people, infrastructure development, and it's going to be a beautiful blend, and Ladakh is going to prosper.
Yes, and
Yeah.
just to add few things, like for example, as I said, Ladakh is a fragile ecosystem, like and fragile environment. But then like even for us, like water is precious,
Correct.
like so it's not like in a plain area of some other parts of India, like when you come to Ladakh, you have to even like think about the scarcity of water in Ladakh,
Correct.
so that also local people has to tell the tourists. So because the climate, we are witnessing climate change, global warming,
Correct.
and the glaciers are like receding, glaciers are like melting down. So in that cases, like the resources, the like the scarcity of resources is always there in Ladakh. So we have to keep everything in balance, like so we cannot because what I witness right now is even the UT administration here always try to like promote tourism in Ladakh.
Correct.
And at the same time, if we are promoting tourism in Ladakh, we have to have all the infrastructure, we have to have all the like all the facilities for tourists and all the proper signages, and like we have to keep balance, like Otherwise, if we have so much of tourists, you know, like I'm not sure the capacity of Ladakh is enough or not, you know, like. So that's why we have to always keep a balance of everything,
Correct.
you know, like.
And I think with a lot of experts which are now coming into the tourism ministry, I'm sure they will be looking into finding some solution, a responsible solution, so that both sides are happy and there is a progressive development without disrupting the culture and the heritage of this sacred land.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Wangchuk, for all this information.